Hello, good evening, and welcome to another edition of Eye on Port. It is proudly brought to you by Ghana Revenue Authority, Ghana Community Network Services, Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, Goil Company Limited, and West Blue Consulting. Media partners for the program: Business and Financial Times, Graphic Business, Ghana Web, also Maritime and Transport Digest. Folks, we're going to talk about transit this week, the transit trade. What at all is the transit trade if you don't know about it? Today is the day that you probably want to pull a seat and sit down and get very close, up close with that particular subject. We will talk about the transit nations, the concerns that they have, and those who do engage in the transit trade in itself. We will, as much as possible, to address them and also take a look at some of the opportunities around that particular trade. In the meantime, quite a number of items, news items are running around locally as well as internationally. I will start with those within this country, and the INCOTERMs were launched this week by the International Chamber of Commerce. Take a listen.
In collaboration with West Blue Consulting, the technical support providers for customs, GRA, has launched its INCOTERMs 2020 in Accra. INCOTERMs is an acronym for International Commercial Terms, which is a trademark of the International Chamber of Commerce registered in several countries. The INCOTERMs rules serve as a guide and provide specific guidance to individuals participating in the import and export of global trade on a daily basis. Addressing participants at the event, a Deputy Minister for Trade and Industry, Carlos Ahenkra, said the launch of the INCOTERMs will provide an atmosphere for trade expansion in the country. He said the African Continental Free Trade Area, aside deepening intra-African trade, will also translate to lower import prices.
Ghana stands to benefit significantly from the AfCFTA and its anticipated positive impact on growth through a number of channels, including a huge market outlet, high investment, deepening intra-African trade, welfare benefits from lower import prices, production efficiency, increase in outputs, higher value-added jobs, and exports.
According to the Deputy Minister for Trade and Industry, a 3-year reform coordinated by the Ministry of Trade and Industry will be implemented to make Ghana one of the most transparent and efficient business environments in Africa. Carlos Ahenkra also said the Trade Ministry has developed trade facilitation roadmap to improve efficiency and risk management with the following benefits.
We at the Ministry of Trade and Industry have been at the heart of this structural change with the implementation of an aggressive industrialization agenda and a focus on deepening intra-regional trade.
The Secretary General of ICC Ghana, Emmanuel Donikwame, explained the benefits of the launch of the INCOTERM 2020 to trade in the country.
It's been launched for people to go through to know the new set of voluntary rules that governs trade, and then based on that to decide the set of INCOTERMs rules they need. It guides both buyers and sellers in international trade. If you're an importer or exporter, you should know which set of rules will help facilitate your business.
So away from the launch of the INCOTERMs, the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, led by the board chairman of that particular institution, carried out a very extensive trade mission to the transit nations to listen to their concerns and also to be able to woo some of those traders, the economic operators within those countries. This particular time they went to Burkina Faso as well as Niger. In Burkina Faso they were in Bobo Dioulasso and Ouagadougou as well. Take a listen.
The transit business forms an integral part of Ghana's port strategic development, and as part of efforts to grow and sustain it, the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, in collaboration with its stakeholders, periodically undertake trade missions to its landlocked partners to learn at first hand some of the challenges the transit traders face in transporting their goods from Ghana to their various countries. This year, the allied stakeholders of Ghana's port, including the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, Customs Division of Ghana Revenue Authority, the Marine Ports and Railways Unit of Ghana Police, among others, have once again embarked on a 10-day trade mission to strengthen the existing bond between Ghana's ports and the Sahelian countries, as well as dialogue extensively about challenges encountered by transitors to achieve resolutions to various issues. First, the GPHA-led delegation made up of the board chairman, Peter McMenu, the director general, Michael Lugoje, and a team of managers, along with leadership of Ghana Police and Ghana Customs, first visited Niger's capital, Niamey, where the delegation paid courtesy calls on the Niger Shippers Council, the Niger Chamber of Commerce, Ministries of Transport and Commerce, and selected economic operators. The Director General of Niger Shippers Council, Mohamed Ikhtar Abdullahi, revealed that during his outfit's visits to Ghana's ports, a lot of concerns they raised have been duly addressed. He urged GPHA to continually engage in education for the Nigerian important public. However, the Niger Shippers Council bemoaned some immediate concerns they needed the port to resolve, including various barriers along the corridor from Ghana to Burkina Faso, inadequate time frames set for them to leave Ghana's jurisdiction, which they suggested should be extended to a month to allow for unforeseen circumstances. They also raised issues of lack of reliable tracking devices, delay of transfer of containers to the transit terminals, and harassment of Niger-bound trucks by Burkina security authorities during transit through that country. The board chairman of GPHA assured the Niger economic community that Ghana's ports will remain secure and efficient.
You can be sure that your goods, your containers, your human beings, in fact, are secured in Ghana.
He also praised Niger's support to Ghana in bidding to host the headquarters of the African Continental Free Trade Area and called for their continued support. The General Manager, Marketing and Corporate Affairs of GPHA, Esther Jebidonko, explained the issue of occasional delays experienced by shippers.
As a result of our new Terminal 3, which is going to give us capacity to be able to serve you better in future. But as all projects, normally the beginning we have teething problems.
She further indicated that as part of GPHA's attempts to ease pressure on clients affected by such delays, it has agreed to waive all storage charges that will accrue as a result of such unwanted delays. She also reviewed management's plan to expand the transit terminal to tackle the imminent congestion at the current space.
Management and the board is looking at it to relocate the terminal. We are aware that the place is constrained with space.
Bob Senyala, an Assistant Commissioner of Customs, GRA, stated that his outfit has only one checkpoint across the corridor from Tema all the way through to Burkina Faso. So Customs is definitely not accountable for the many barriers identified by the Nigerian transitors. He added that Customs is trying to acquire more reliable tracking devices as soon as possible to aid the security and monitoring of goods destined for the transit countries.
In the process of trying to identify reliable sources of acquiring tracking devices for Customs itself.
He also revealed Ghana Customs are willing to negotiate an extension of the stipulated period allowed for transit vehicles to stay within the country after discharge at the ports.
When we return to Ghana, Madam Hajia Zara has always been in touch with us. I have her number, she has my number. I'll discuss it with the commissioner and we invite a delegation from them so that we sort out this and see if we can extend the time.
Chief Superintendent Joseph Abebiu, commander in charge of the Marine Port and Railways Unit of the Ghana Police, admitted that some of the police barriers along the corridor are not necessarily among the designated transit checkpoints. However, they were introduced to check crime on the corridor.
Many of them are there for the same security and safety of your goods and persons that ply the road.
The Director General of GPHA, Michael Lugoje, said the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority would initiate a joint mission that will interact with the police to finally resolve the matter.
I think one of the things we'll be doing with the permission of my ports and when we go back is to get a joint mission that will just travel the road from Tema all the way to Ghana and have some interactions with the police.
The delegation proceeded to the Niger Customs, where the Director of Customs recalled a similar delegation in 2017, where disparities in relation to tariffs were discussed in order for Nigerians to comfortably use Ghana's ports. He said Ghana can certainly be considered a natural destination for Nigerian shippers if all challenges in relation to tariffs are resolved. He also lamented that there is no collaboration between the various corridors to facilitate the smooth flow of goods and services as well as information. He appealed to GPHA and Customs to furnish his outfit with certified certificates of origin so they can authenticate all claims made by shippers. Peter McMenu, board chairman of GPHA, assured that the authority is committed to strengthening the relationship with Niger so as to create the best atmosphere for economic operators.
And since it takes two to tango, it takes us and you to move the cooperation to a certain level. We have pledged on our part to look into and address the issues that they brought before us this morning.
At the Niger Chamber of Commerce, the vice president of the chamber called for Ghana's help in solving the problem of harassment when transiting goods through Burkina Faso. The DG of GPHA, Michael Lugeje, said there is a need for a multilateral cooperation between the countries involved in trade so that goods can move freely across the ECOWAS sub-region. The delegation also met with the trade minister of Niger, who said he is aware of the many Nigerians living in Ghana and expressed the hope that Ghana puts up some sound policies to attract part of that Nigerian international trade business. An open forum was organized at the end of the trade mission to Niger to discuss in detail the remedies that were suggested during the business-to-business meetings. The trade delegation continued its mission to Burkina Faso, where they were first hosted by the Director General of the Burkina Faso Shipping Council. The board chairman of GPHA, Peter McMenu, emphasized the massive investment sunk into making Ghana's ports more efficient.
Ghana's ports is number one in West Africa. And in terms of manpower, in terms of equipment, in terms of the drafts which can accommodate bigger ships, in terms of clearing, in terms of tariffs, we are number one. And we want to deepen it. That's why we've come.
The Director General of the GPHA, Michael Lugeje, also relayed one of the key concerns of the Nigerian shipper community to their Burkina Bay counterparts for redress.
With regards to Niger cargo that passes through Burkina Faso from Ghana to Niger, they believe that the facilitation within the Burkina territory is not the best that they expect in terms of road checkpoints within the Burkina territory, the relationship with customs along the road and the rest.
At the Burkina Faso Ministry of Trade, the chief director of the ministry said they are willing to partner Ghana to fashion out attractive policies that will push the Burkina Faso shipping community to the Ghanaian corridor. The DG of GPHA, Michael Lugeje, raised the issue of lack of uniform documentation and harassment and called on the ministry to coordinate with other ministries to facilitate the transit trade.
The transit count, the landlord counters themselves, and particularly Niger and Mali, whose goods coming from Ghana will have to transit through Burkina Faso. They have challenges with controls and documentation within the Ghanaian corridor. They have challenges also with similar controls and bureaucracy within the Burkina Faso corridor.
The Minister of Transport disclosed that a lot of initiatives are underway to curb the issue of harassment, which has been a thorny issue for transporters across board. Many major economic operators in Burkina Faso reiterated a resolve to work with Ghana's ports. GPHA also assured the economic operators of better services. The delegation visited the Paga border and admitted that the transit track park there was in a very deplorable state. The board chairman of GPHA and DG of GPHA promised that the board will ensure the construction of an improved park in the next few months.
The ground needs some pavement, which I am aware the board has given approval, and that is going through the process of tender, the tender process, so that the contractor can be awarded the contract to come on site and at least make this place a bit attractive and clean.
So we're taking a look at the opportunities that are emerging or that are available when it comes to the transit trade. We're also looking at some of the threats that are emerging when it comes to the transit trade. And my guest for this particular topic is Anthony Osei Ntiamwa. He's the head of ISRT unit of SIC Insurance Company Limited. Osei, good to see you.
Thank you.
And Kunedu Yadom, Douglas Kunedu Yadom is the Chief Revenue Officer in charge of transit terminals. Douglas, you're also the Chief Revenue Officer, is it?
In charge of preventive.
Chief Revenue Officer in charge of preventive as well. And then Ziad Hamui is the National President of Borderless Alliance Ghana. Ziad, also good to see you.
Good evening.
Douglas, thanks for coming.
Thank you.
So what we're going to do, or first of all take a look at is, for those who are not too familiar with this environment, when you talk about transit trade, what exactly is it? And I'll start with you, Douglas, because you are in charge of the transit terminal.
Thank you, Sami, for the opportunity, and greetings to our cherished viewers. When we talk of transit, it's a suspense regime where goods are landed at the port of Tema without the payment of duties and taxes.
No payment.
No payment of duties and taxes.
Yeah. Okay.
And it is the responsibility of GRA, for that matter, Customs Division, to ensure that the goods are escorted either through electronic monitoring or whatever means, that the goods exit to its destination.
Okay.
In brief.
Okay. And the escort, you mentioned either electronic means or what? What is the other alternative?
Yeah, we have the electronic monitoring
okay.
using the GCNet tracking device.
Mm-hmm.
And then at GRA Customs Headquarters, we have a control room where we have officers who monitor and track the movement of the cargo. With high duty goods, we are tempted to provide physical escort.
Okay.
To ensure that said goods are not diverted.
Okay. So what is this high duty
maybe
goods?
textiles, oil, cigarettes, geisha, and those items.
Okay.
That terms have.
They are high duty rated. Okay. And those are the items that you physically accompany the trucks. Sure. And your officers actually do that? You physically accompany the trucks?
We do.
I see.
Unfortunately, so it is even draining the coffers of GRA.
Okay,
well, between January to June this year, we've spent almost about 135,000 cedis.
135,000 cedis. Using your men physically to escort some of these products.
Buying fuel.
I see. So you have a vehicle that
yes, we have to
goes along with the truck.
Sure. Assuming the trucks about 50 or 60 going, you deploy them. Okay. And then maybe 3-4 days, the officers will be communicating with the drivers as to their location. So after 3-4 days, they move. Some of the trucks will even exit the transit terminal, but will park in Tema.
Okay.
Waiting for maybe the fueling of the vehicle because the transporter has not provided fuel.
Yeah.
So after a week, then the officers follow up and be pushing them. Those who be doing maintenance in Kumasi, they go there and then push them.
That's interesting because it's not only in Kumasi, some of them do maintenance.
Yes.
Some will set off from Tema and they may do
accidents.
Yes, accidents.
Last
they
Friday,
may do maintenance like twice before
they get to
Kumasi.
We were escorting some textiles to Elobo. On Friday, one had an accident at Brewa, one at Mori. So quickly, we have to deploy 2 officers to go and guard those trucks. It is just this morning that the Brewa one has taken one off. The one at Mori is still there, and officer is there for the past 3 days.
With your vehicle? No. Or this time
this the vehicle came back.
So the vehicle is back, left your officer there by himself.
So he engaged the service of the assemblyman to give people to come and support him to guide, because if there should be an attempt to on stuff, it's a revenue loss to the state.
Yeah.
So these are some of the challenges.
And is your officer
alone
capable to protect that volumes of goods
these are the challenges
in the interest of the country?
These are the challenges we are facing.
No, I still want an answer to that. Is your officer physically capable of protecting the goods, that volume of goods that have been stuck there because the truck is broken down? Is that officer capable by himself alone?
No, that's why I think he invited the assemblyman.
Oh, but the assemblyman there is not.
Okay.
Okay.
When he said call the assemblyman, I think they call the police for enforcement.
So one officer protecting goods. The truck has about two, the driver himself and maybe about two driver mates.
Yeah.
Is that the case? Okay. And is your officer insured for this purpose? The officers who go with the
we
escort.
have this workman compensation.
Workman compensation.
Yeah, so
no insurance, Papa Bia. Okay, so I think that's clearer enough. But what's the difference between the transit and transshipment, if you will explain?
The transshipment is where the boxes are landed in Ghana at the port of Tema, and then they are transferred to another country, say Togo or Cote d'Ivoire. That's the difference. With the transit, you land and you ensure that it exists. But with transshipment, it lands and then they convey them by sea.
By the vessel, the vessel conveys it back to another country. Okay,
yes.
So in this case, to just make it simpler for those who are not too familiar with it, in the case of the transit, the box will land in Ghana.
Sure.
And then physically on the truck, it will go straight to the transit nation. Sure. But with the transshipment, the box is left on the vessel and taken to another destination.
At times, they land it at the port, and another vessel will come and...
We just come and lift it up and go. Okay. So, Ziad, you from your advocacy point of view, the Borderless Alliance, listening to the stories behind transit, if you can first of all tell us what are some of the benefits of transit trade in itself? One, to us as a country who is providing that transit trade service, and then also to the transit nations.
Thank you, Sami, for the question. And good evening to you and your listeners. Before I answer your question, maybe let me just state that in the back of my mind, when I was listening to Mr. Yadom talk about the physical escort and the electronic escort, I was wondering really whether it wasn't the case that is why we have a national bond guarantee. And that is
we'll
why
get there. So
right?
we'll get
so
to
that is what I was
thinking
when with this ongoing conversation.
Yeah,
and we'll definitely get there later
to
on.
deal with the escort in detail.
Now, transit in itself is not just an economic activity for the destination country. You know that eventually the goods are carried by drivers.
Yeah.
And the goods, which mostly come in containerized form, sometimes in bulk form. Sometimes they change from bulk to container or from container to bulk. And all of these economic activities take place either within the port area in Ghana or within, along the roads, on the corridors. There is lodging, accommodation, services. There is some consolidation for the goods. There are some payments that take place along the corridors, and then eventually there is some kind of a whole economic ecosystem that builds upon the transit trade. And even though transit does not allow the state for revenue, the transit state for revenue, I mean customs revenue or duties, but the indirect benefits are from the economic activities related to the movement of the goods and those who are carrying it. Okay. There's also some freight forwarding activity. They will definitely pass a few days on their way going, whether spending a night somewhere along the roads or at the border crossings or along the roads. So sometimes some of the drivers, you will find that they are not too much in a hurry to just get their goods and exit. You know, sometimes some of the drivers who clear their goods even in transit out of the port, they spend a couple of days willfully, within the port area, just to prepare themselves for other activity, maybe something that has to do with money exchange.
Yeah.
There are some dispatch monies involved, so the drivers have to prepare themselves. Sometimes they have to rest because they have been waiting some time. So the drivers will create some kind of an economic ecosystem that benefit the transit trade in the country that is transiting.
Yeah. Okay. And I think that the other thing will also be that the port authority or the port handling activities also generate some monies for the port authority.
Of course, there are port duties, there are port charges and the levies and fees that get charged at our ports.
So you will say that in spite of the fact that customs is not charging duties and taxes on these transit goods, yet there are enormous benefits that as a country we are supposed to take a look at.
Of course.
And try to harness.
Of course. And in fact, that is exactly why the leadership of Ghana has decided that the port expansion of Tema was such a necessity. Yeah. Because strategically we wanted to position Ghana as the gateway to West Africa, as the shipping gateway. And we have been attempting to position the country as the economic hub for West Africa for a while. And then now with the advent of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement entering into force on the 30th of May 2019, and Ghana being the host of the Secretariat. So there is even more reason for Ghana to position itself not just as a hub for West Africa, but also for the whole continent. Okay. So theoretically speaking, we want investors to come in to build manufacturing and production bases in Ghana, and then to move these goods outside into West Africa.
Okay. So, and even aside the benefits, say the economic benefits and all of that, and the economic opportunities and all of that, would you say, and from where you said, because I know that you deal a lot with the regional bodies and all of that, are we even bound by regional protocols to undertake some of these transit activities?
There is no particular obligation for a transiting nation to perform that particular job. However, you know that for the landlocked countries themselves, who are constricted in their economic activities to goods that pass through foreign territory, it is imperative for them to create cordial relationships with their coastal countries. Okay. And so let's call it the push effect comes from the transit countries, because they want to keep their options open in order to do two things. First of all, to bring in and to bring out the economic goods and services and activity to keep their countries moving. And then to do this at in a cost-effective way that doesn't add too much cost for their end consumer, which is the customer. So eventually, everyone who is consuming goods in landlocked countries will have to pay for the additional cost of the transiting of the goods from a neighboring port. And depending on which port is being used, the cost and structure might shift. Okay. And so we are positioning the port of Ghana, for example, in a way that makes Ghana economic sense for landlocked countries to use the corridors, because there is the least cost added to their trade through this particular country. Hence, as you've seen earlier and you stated about trade missions going around to landlocked countries to showcase the achievements we have done with the infrastructure, with the efficiency of our service, the effectiveness of our service. So it's more or less, it's like a package. Okay. And it's value addition that comes in and creates a synergy effect.
Yeah. And I'll say you are with SIC. To what extent do you, of what significance is effective insurance for the transit trade? Take a look at the scenario, for instance, that Douglas gave, the fact that officers need escort of goods, heavy goods, goods that are bringing of high volumes and all of that being transported on the corridor, and the distance is quite a lot. If you have to cart goods from, let's say, Tema all the way to Ouaga or Bobo de Lasso, or head all the way to Niamey, of what significance is insurance, effective insurance to that?
Thank you very much, Sami. Yet, if you look at transit, every ECOWAS country, member country, is mandated to appoint a national guarantor. For Ghana, SIC Insurance has been appointed as the national guarantor for transit goods. Okay. We actually guarantee the duties and taxes of these transit goods.
You guarantee duties and taxes
that would have been paid.
Okay.
Because customs are suspending, because it's transit, they are suspending these duties and taxes. That when there is a diversion, then they will have to fall on the guarantor to pay these duties and taxes. But what Mr. Yadon said about the fiscal escorts, That is at the discretion of the Commissioner General of Customs Division as to which goods you want to have physical escort on them.
Okay, but would you have insured all goods? Or would the transit guarantor insure all the goods? Do you have bonds for all the goods?
For every transit cargo, there should be a transit bond.
So it's not an option, it's
okay.
It's
mandatory. Yes, it's
mandatory.
Yes.
Okay. What does that mean? What does that ensure? What does that assure?
We are actually guaranteeing the transit. We are telling customs that allow these transit goods to go. And if they don't go, you have to fall on the national guarantor for your duties that you have gotten when it was going to be consumed locally.
Okay. So assume that I bring in containers or trucks of tin tomatoes, for instance, and say that I'm taking them all the way to Burkina Faso. And along the line, it is detected that instead of going to Burkina Faso, I diverted the goods and brought them back to, say, Makola. Customs is not able to find where the trucks of tin tomatoes are, but they were able to tell that indeed they did not go through the borders of Ghana and they did not get to their destinations. Would SIC be responsible?
Yet by our mandate, we will have to pay customs if it's established that indeed the goods did not exit the country. Okay. But we need to investigate to find out if indeed the goods actually landed in the Makola or wherever.
But if that's the case, then we don't have to worry too much about the cry. Lots of cry we've been hearing about diversion, because once it is diverted, if it is not properly monitored and we hear that it is diverted, SIC will pay us.
You know, with diversion, it has so many implications, national security implications. Let's say the tomato paste came in containers.
Yeah.
The containers were not opened. National security is worried because they don't know what's in the container.
Yeah.
So national security needs to find out where these goods are.
Agreed.
I mean, with diversions, we can curtail these diversions because a dishonest importer needs a dishonest freight forwarder for diversion to succeed.
Okay. Okay.
If we have a freight forwarder can make a bad faith case impossible. Now Mr. Yadom is an importer and he wants to bring goods and then divert into the local markets. He will need the help of a freight forwarder for this to succeed. That's why I'm saying you need a dishonest freight forwarder and a dishonest importer before diversion can succeed.
Let me get you, and we'll deal with the diversion in detail again, but let me get you on this one. You said, so it goes beyond the revenue. That is why we have to be worried about diversion.
Yes.
It's not just the revenue.
Yes.
So would you then say that with SIC, for the revenue aspect, we shouldn't worry?
No, like I said, it's our mandate to pay customs when it's established that there's diversion.
Okay.
That is what the protocols mandate us to do.
Okay.
That is why the government appointed SIC to be the national guarantor.
Okay.
But many instances, you have, with transit diversions, you have to take your time to really establish that there's indeed a diversion. Because we have issues where containers get to the borders, they are not closed. And then you run the reports, and the report gives you so many things showing that these are unclosed transactions. But once it's established, then SIC would have to pay within the laws.
What did you mean by the unclosed transaction? Just so I don't mess that up.
You have containers that get to the exit points, and for one or two reasons, I don't know, whatever reasons, they are not closed in the system.
Closed means they are
Customs
not
do not
it's not the
release the
bonds
bonds.
that it's gone. Okay.
Customs do not release the bonds.
Okay.
So these entries, declarations, are left hanging in the system, and it shows that these actually are still in the country.
Okay.
But
they
might have
crossed the borders.
They might have exited.
I see. That has been happening?
Yes, a lot of them.
I see.
So we need to take our time to really go through the systems to see that indeed these goods did not exit. Then we'll have to pay.
What could be happening when it comes to that? How would you have a system where everything indicates that the truck is out, the goods are out into that country, yet in the system it's not like that?
Yes, we have these cases when you can have two declarations on one truck. Let's say Ajima brings tomato paste, which is 20-footer container. Ziad brings toothpaste, which is 20-footer container. Because you want to minimize your cost of transportation, they put those two declarations in one truck. When the driver gets to the exit points, instead of presenting the two documents, these are two separate documents, to the customs officers for them to close the declaration, they present one declaration. So one declaration is closed, the other one is left hanging.
Interesting. Okay.
So how do you establish that indeed this one did go or did not go? You have to look at three things. You have to look at the car number, the vehicle number, you have to look at the seal number, you have to look at the tracking device number.
Okay.
Because every truck goes with one seal number, one sticker number, and one device. So once these two, they jive, then it means the goods left. But we will need to investigate.
Okay.
Yes.
Would you be able to tell the quantum of diversion cases that we've recorded? Let's say this year.
I think this year we are having about 95% compliance. It's been a good year.
That's not bad.
Because
so 5%, about 5% diversion.
Almost 98. Yes.
98.3%.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 98.3%.
Yeah, because we as the national guarantors started something from last year.
Okay.
What we're doing is we were profiling all vehicles and importers. Any vehicle that has been involved in diversion, we do not allow you to go.
Okay, so if a vehicle is found in the system that you have attempted diverting before,
yes,
we
as the national guarantor would inform customs that we cannot provide a sticker for this car. The bond will be provided for the goods, but this car we cannot guarantee the car.
How are you able to tell that the truck has done this before?
No, we have the system. Okay. We have all the truck numbers.
What if the numbers are changed? Because people say they can change the numbers at some times.
That is a different case. I think we will have to come back to that. Okay. That comes down to registration of these trucks. That comes to the ports. That is a different thing.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is, those trucks that come with the same number, we are able to detect by our system. Because we have to issue you with a transit sticker. And at the point of issuing the transit sticker, we have to know the vehicle number.
Okay.
Once we get the vehicle number, we inform customs. Because by the Customs Act of 2015, any vehicle that is involved in the conveyance of transit goods that does not exit, customs will have to seize the car.
I see.
I don't know if
it's true.
Yes.
It's true.
I see.
So we inform customs that this truck was involved in diversion, and then we cannot guarantee the car, not the goods.
Okay. So, Adam, what's the volume of transit we are seeing lately? What are the numbers looking like?
On the average, on daily basis, we clear between 30 to 50, 60 trucks a day.
Minimum is 30?
Yes.
And your maximum is what?
50 is about 60 to 80.
In a day?
In a day.
I see. The entire year, how is it looking?
It's making good. It's good.
Okay.
Yeah, there's an improvement.
Okay. I understand that it went down somewhere around.
Yeah, that was when the
about 2 months ago or so.
MPS commenced operations. We had challenges of escorting or sending the boxes to the transit. MPS had wanted to take control of the transit boxes as well. So together, Customs and GPHA, we met MPS management and we agreed that transit cargo, consolidated cargo, hazardous goods
are not part of the operations?
Yes,
okay.
I don't know, so they agreed.
So after that?
We have taken shape. Now we send the boxes to Terminal 1, a holding bay for GPHA. And so as and when the transitors are ready, they convey them under escort to the transit terminal. Yeah. GPHA has provided a one-stop shop facility where you go through all the processes.
That's the transit terminal?
Transit terminal. Okay. All the processes are there. So it has encouraged people to patronize the depots, the facility.
Okay. If you compare the numbers this year, we're heading to the end of the year. That's why I'm asking for these numbers. If you're comparing this year and last year, how does it look?
This year is going up.
Okay.
It's going up, yeah.
Okay. If you compare
the only challenge is when the initial stage we had those hitches at MPS, but now things are moving.
But along the line, I don't know if, for your sake, along the line, did we have some challenges that also caused the dwindling of the numbers? I think somewhere along the line I had SIC wasn't too happy with some of the numbers, was it?
Not SIC.
I mean the system.
Yeah, the system. I think transit started dropping around July because there was uncertainty when there was this something of this idea of first port rule.
First port of rule.
First port
Okay.
rule.
First port of
So
rule.
the importers were not happy with it, the transit importers. So most of them, I mean, moved their cargoes to the neighboring ports like Cotonou.
Okay.
Because I saw a lot of transshipments. The cargoes actually landed here, but they had to move them because there were uncertainties getting money to pay the duty here.
Upfront.
Upfront.
Yes.
Okay, so that actually pushed some of our clients away.
Yes.
Ghana's clients
Yes.
away to Lomé.
Yes. Yeah.
I see. Ziad, you agree to this?
I agree, because I was having this conversation yesterday with representatives of the shippers, the landlocked shippers council, and they raised this particular point that their transit cargoes and volumes through Ghana have reduced because of the entry into force of the first port of call. Now, keep in mind that it's not because of the first port of call rule that they decided to take their business elsewhere. It is something a little bit more subtle. It has to do with the lack of prior consultation that took place when the rule entered into force.
We didn't start implementation.
No.
Yes. We didn't.
They were just talking about it.
That is exactly something that the business community understands much more than the politicians, that uncertainty is a big killer for business. You can't say that I want to operate in this country without having a stable and predictable business environment, and then you expect me to bring my business here and get faced with changes that radically have to re-engineer my business operations, right? So let me just clearly spell that the idea behind the first port of call rule is in itself a good initiative. And the way I believe, I understand it to have been implemented, in case it was implemented, is to allow the owners of the goods to settle their payments in the countries of destination, not necessarily to bring your Cephas to Tema and pay it here and then clear your goods.
No, but that's what Osei is saying, that they felt that they couldn't have paid that money upfront before seeing their goods, and for which reason they decided to begin to use Lomé instead of Ghana.
Now, I will not contest that. What I understand is the fact that if you are preparing to receive your goods within a week or 2 weeks, then it means that your finances are ready and prepared to pay and to settle. And in order for the customs to discuss between them, well, let's say, for example, Burkina Faso, Burkina customs to talk to Ghana customs and to say the duty is paid, and you can clear the goods. So they will issue the request, and the customs in Ghana can then clear the goods because they have understood it to be said that it has been fully settled. So then they will release it, because eventually transit good is about, let's call it a responsibility for the customs of the transit country to ensure that the goods reach the country of destinations, so that the goods, customs and duties will be paid for to the rightful to the rightful authorities. And so if the authorities come and say in Burkina that we have received our payments, so what is it again that you feel?
No, but not just that, but they haven't received the goods. So let me ask Douglas though, maybe your say will come from where you sit. Do you think the transit nations would have been comfortable with paying duties ahead of seeing their goods?
Yet, what I heard from some of the importers, that they also sell these goods. And in their country, the buyers want to see the goods before they part with money. Now, if they are paying before the goods get to the border, I mean, they wouldn't get the money to pay.
Assume it doesn't even get there.
Because they are also going to sell. And some of the buyers want to see that the goods are indeed at their borders.
I won't put Sayadom, from where you also said as a custom officer, who is on the ground, not at the top, who is on the ground there, do you think that folks who engage in this trade would have been willing to pay ahead of time, going by the first port?
That's why they were kicking against that policy.
I see. So they weren't comfortable with it.
Yeah, they weren't comfortable.
And for which reason some of them were actually leaving.
And so, Samir, this begs back the question of the prior consultation.
Yeah.
If we are sitting here and having this conversation, which is clearly stating that the representatives of the landlocked countries have stated strongly that they are not prepared to move into that particular system,
why were we then implementing?
Where did the decision come from, right?
Yeah.
So you can understand from the landlocked countries' position that there are certain uncertainties in the system that they cannot prepare and arrange for. So they would prefer to go to somewhere more predictable, irrespective of the cost element. The cost might be higher. Now, if you compare the fees and charges between Lomé and Ghana, cost to cost, and you come up with the final cost, you might find that the ports of Ghana are still more competitive.
So you would,
but the predictability element is
so
something that's very valuable for the business community.
You would say that for this particular first port rule that was being pushed heavily by government, there wasn't enough consultation, and if there was, probably we wouldn't have even gotten that close as we nearly did.
I don't know, and the only source of information is coming from the Landlocked Shippers Council, so we have to take their word for that one. But we don't know exactly how the decisions get.
Let me now talk about escort, because we started with that one. And we heard from Mr. Yadom. He set the tone for us when it comes to escort. I'll say, your people, insurance, as a guarantor, you're supposed to guarantee the goods, the taxes, the duties and taxes of these goods. Now here we are not too sure that the goods are going to get into their final destination. We have put tracking devices on them, on the trucks that are supposed to take these goods into their destinations. We're not sure, we still don't believe and trust those devices, and we add an additional person. How does that, what confidence do you derive from this kind of process? Physical escort, and then the technological as well.
Yes, like you said, it's not every cargo that is physically escorted. And the law allows the Commissioner General to escort where he thinks there's a need to be a physical escort.
But the categories he gave, that should be quite a number, because some of these, the products that he gave are products that are quite frequent. They are quite frequent.
Yes, but I don't know the level of escorts that he goes. Like
just
you said,
described one. Officer will have to
how often do they go on escorts? Because we have, like you said, we have these tracking devices there. I mean, if you don't track the tracking devices, it means we will have to take them off and then bring those that we trust. But if we trust these tracking devices, then the physical escort.
Mr. Yadom, 135,000 Ghana cedis is what you said has cost you January and
to June.
June. So half year, you already spent 135,000 Ghana cedis on this escort business. And we can't even be sure that indeed your men were able to protect these goods all throughout.
They do. Well, we put measures in place. Every day there's trip. We communicate with the exit stations. And then every week they submit returns. So quickly we are able to do the reconciliation. But when we provided the escorts, somehow it's working.
But how frequent do you do the escort to?
Every 2 weeks. No, we batch them in 2 weeks. Then you see there are quantum of
those items,
that we need to escort them. So we provide escorts for them.
2 weeks?
Yes, within 2 weeks.
Yes. I mean, with this escort, I mean, if we are actually doing things according to what the law says, I don't think maybe there's the need for the escort.
What does the law say?
I was going to say that.
Now, we have, we have no direct control over the importers who are actually outside our country. But we have control over their agents, who are the customs house agents and the truck drivers. We have control over them. Now, there are laws governing transit trade. Now we have different freight forwarders who actually clear transit cargo. How are we making them to be accountable for what they do?
You mean the agents?
The agents. Because the agent, it's the responsibility of the agent to make sure that the good actually exits. Now, if it doesn't exit, GRA, the laws are there. Now, how can we make sure that these agents do their work?
Tell us.
Now, if you go to Cote d'Ivoire, they have about 380 freight forwarders, but only 36 are allowed to do transits. Now, when you come to Ghana, we have a whole lot of, I mean, almost every freight forwarder does transit declaration.
So in Cote d'Ivoire, 380 agents, only 36 can do transit.
Yes. Now, we can have a criteria to reduce the number. Now, let's say, we can say, let's go back to 2016. Every freight forwarder who want to do transits would have to have a 0 outstanding in his name. If you want to be part of transit, you should have 0 outstanding.
Clean slate.
Clean slate. We will add you to declare transit. When there is a diversion, aside GRA coming after you, we will also take you off. And I believe when we start something like this, we will have genuine freight forwarders.
Currently, what do we do to them when we realize they've been involved in such infractions?
From our point, when there's any suspected diversion, we block the company. So if it emerges that it has
the
been
importing company or the agency?
The agents. Okay. You are the declarant. We block your company. If after investigation it comes to light that indeed the goods have been diverted, then you are made to pay the duties and the penalties. These are some of the measures
after
that we
paying
put in
the
place.
duties, what happens to you?
I think the current management have decided to put measures in place that they will begin prosecuting.
But for now, until now,
yeah, we have not prosecuted.
You just let them go free.
Yeah, so they said we should
go and do it again.
We should compile the list of officers, agents, freight forwarders who have contravened some of these laws, and then forward it to the commissioner for the next action. So for the time being, these are the measures that have been put in place.
So you only pay your penalty. You are still allowed to get back into the system, so that what it is that if I'm ready to pay penalty, I don't care, because once you catch me, I pay. If you don't catch me, I succeed. Because there's nobody jails me.
Definitely you'll be caught. Definitely they will get you.
I was going to say, in support of what Anthony was talking about with regard to the Authorized Economic Operators Scheme. And you know that for several years now, Ghana has been attempting to come up with, to draft an Authorized Economic Operator Scheme, which we used to call before, I think, the gold cards or something. Yeah. But then it was the freight forwarders themselves who were complaining that the criterion that was applied were too strict. And then apparently the pressure has been coming that you have to loosen it a bit, and then there has been a redraft.
How strict was it?
Where apparently it was going to limit it from a pool of unlimited freight forwarders who can operate the system into what Anthony was talking about a handful of reliable and known low-risk clearing agents who can operate and do the business and have more or less the reliability. Because eventually, keep in mind that customs and transit are about risk management. Everything that is taking place is in order to reduce the risk. And so to reduce your risk, you have to profile it correctly and you have to underwrite correctly. So from what we have been discussing here, it has been apparent that there is no loss of revenue, even from diversion or stealing.
Yeah.
It's just that the cost of your insurance bill, which is the bond guarantee in this case, will have to go up if you are riskier. And then the main objective is to reduce the risk in connection with the goods that get in transit. And so you have to lower your risk, and then you have to manage the system in such a way that you can separate the high risk from the low risk systems. And this brings us to another tied-in issue with the risk engine at the port in Ghana. Yeah. And you know that the risk engine currently has the potential to be operationalized in such a way that it will assist customs themselves to detect the high risk from the medium risk from the low risk. Yeah. But for some reasons, there has been some issues and concerns that are also reflecting in the area of transit. So if we manage our risk correctly from source, in our case, the source is the port of Tema and the port of Takoradi in some instances. If we manage our risk at source, we will manage our risk for the rest of the chain. And then the rest will be about risk management, applying GPS or digital enhancements, physical escort in cases where it is really needed, not just to waste state money on loss-making machines. But whatever the measures that gives you the result of reducing your risk, you have to apply that one.
What do you make of what I mentioned earlier about the Abidjan having 380 and only 36 freight forwarders can? What do you make of that policy? Do you think there should be limitation of those who handle these cargoes?
There are many countries which not only have limitations in freight forwarders, but also in the number of trucking companies and haulage companies and the requirements of these trucking companies. Morocco, take Morocco for example. You have very strict rules that will allow you to apply as a haulier in Morocco. You have to have professional fleets, well managed, you have to demonstrate a track record, you have to continuously have a track record. Unlike other countries where it is just
loose.
It is not just loose, it is, you need to have sanctions and rewards mechanisms that trim down the pool in order to separate the less reliable from the more reliable.
And we don't have that?
We don't have that kind of motivation and incentive to ensure that the best of the best remain and the worst will go down.
Why that attitude?
I don't know.
Well, we've started the process of registering unions. Before you become you cut transit goods, you have to belong to a union. Yes. So we have started the process.
Is that for the driver's side or for the agents? The driver's side.
We have started.
No, which one? For the broker's side or?
No, for the drivers. For the driver's side, we are registering the haulage companies and then individuals who want to cut transit goods.
We are now registering them?
No, we've done it before, but we are registering. We are streamlined because we even, like we said at a point in time, that some of them even fake the triplates.
Yeah.
So we are in collaboration with our DVLA to ensure that before you even register, you will go to check the background. So
but all of these, we haven't been doing all this while, Douglas.
Oh, we did it together with SIC and GPHA. We have been doing it. No,
yes,
we have been doing it.
I think I have had discussion with Mr. Yadom on this track issue. Yeah. Yes, because I was worried about how, you know, fake trucks with fake registration numbers could enter the port.
But was it happening?
Yes.
It was happening?
Yes.
You had records?
Until recently even. Until recently.
Yes. You could have vehicles with fake registration numbers entering customs installation. I mean,
that's weird.
Yes. So I met Mr. Yadom and I said, no, there is a need to re-register this.
To have a unified database for everyone.
Unified
Trucks,
database.
Yes. And
drivers,
you know,
companies.
we shouldn't allow individuals to come to customs to register a truck to cut transit.
But it had been the case.
I mean, because what I realize is you can have importers who own trucks, who have the intention to divert, who will register their trucks and use the trucks for diversion.
I see.
Yes. So now, like you're saying, if they are registering, it should be a committee that should sit down and do this registration.
But we don't have that committee.
I don't know, because that is...
No, we have it.
Okay. I was going to say, Mr. Yadom, because it appears to me from this convo that there are a lot of things that, as a community, we haven't sat down together and ensure that we have so and so done. Ad hoc, we implement one or two minus one agency, and then the other will come and say, oh, I thought we should have added that, we should have done that. If we sit down as a whole community, as an association, whatever, you have SIC bringing their ideas and all of that, you'll be able to have those
I'll take note and inform the chairperson. So in recent times, we've been meeting Shippers Authority, GPHA, Customs. It's unfortunate, maybe I will let the chairperson so that SIC will be invited to.
And would you then agree that it appears also again that we don't have strict measures that need to protect some of these goods, and we are only wasting too much money, as you mentioned, 135,000 just in half a year, trying to let people physically escort goods. Meanwhile, with stricter and more, proactive means, we could have gotten something and saved this amount of money.
Yes, it's true. But Customs, we are doing a bit. Because that, I even want to announce that the government has given us the green light to reactivate some of the barriers that were...
yes. You're coming back to that.
Yeah. So that in between Tema to interventory points, into Tem, when you get there, you stop, they take the necessary
records again.
We are even asking GCNet to provide the systems. Then from there to Kobase, you do it. I mean, that order.
I think I support that
beyond
idea.
The four.
To bring back those barriers.
No, these are no barriers. These are intervening checkpoints.
Intervention point, yeah.
What's the difference?
Yes, once the trucks... No, because when you look at the ECOWAS protocol, we need to set these intervening checkpoints. Once the goods get there and customs registers is in the system, when there's a diversion, we are able to identify where the diversions occur.
But look,
I'm not happy.
Tony, yes, I know you. Where you are going, I'm not happy. Before I even come to you and for you to throw your punches. But Tony, we had about 6. The last time I counted in 2016, we had about 6 custom checks on the corridor. Now, we were told that 3 were intervening checkpoints. Yes. For which reason, when the Vice President in May 2017 announced that we move all the checkpoints away, Customs came and said, oh, 3 of them there, we need them there because they are intervening checkpoints. Now, you're telling us that in spite of what the Vice President told us in May, you want to bring back those checkpoints or the intervening checkpoints, which I don't know what the difference is, because you see, when we took out the previous ones, what happened was that after that we did some checks. What happened was that those that called themselves intervening checkpoints, they were sort of still acting as if they are the main barriers. And people were complaining that when you get there, you still have to go and pay some small money to officers. And it appeared to us on record, though, that video record, that we still saw that kind of process at the intervening checkpoints. So you are going to bring back intervening checkpoints again?
I want to assure you that this time round it will be a different ball game.
I see. What will change?
Yours is ensure that the vehicle has pulled up, you've taken the necessary information so that when it takes off and there's any diversion between, say, INCOTERM and Kumasi, we'll be able to locate where we have to trace.
I see. Ziad,
I want to assure you that management has put certain measures in place, and the staff association are also fully in support, and they're also preparing their men online. So I want to assure you.
Okay.
You know, as a human institution, definitely you'll be getting some minor infractions, but we'll make sure that we'll put them on their toes. And those who are found culpable, we'll deal with them.
Didn't we have this information before we, the vice president made that announcement of taking back these?
Yes, when the vice president Excellency came up with that policy, I don't lie. See, you have to, when you come up with a policy, you have to review, depending on the circumstances on the ground. So it has become very imperative that we reinvent or reactivate those checkpoints.
Okay. Are they mandated by ECOWAS, though? Let me just ask.
Okay. Yet, when you look at the ECOWAS protocol, it mandates that customs should have mandatory checkpoints. I mean,
does it stipulate the number?
No, not. I have not seen that, but maybe I'll have to go back and look at it. But these checkpoints, you know, it's not like Mashu checkpoints. These are customs mandatory checkpoints that will have to do the updates once the vehicle gets there. I mean, for collection of statistics, we know where the goods got before they were diverted. So I support customs when they bring back these mandatory checkpoints. Not so many of them, because between Tema and Kumasi, there are two of them, only two of them. And between Kumasi and Tamale, I think it's two
of them. Yape, the one just before Tamale, and then
Yape and Tamale and Boga, right?
You have the number, the Leslie.
Yes, we have.
Once you cross,
yes, and then you go to Yape.
Yape, yes. Okay. So two, and then you have Savlugu
between Boga,
Savlugu.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's not.
So if there's any diversion, quickly.
So yeah, that we used to have. There's about 6. That's what I said earlier. And now you want to bring back the 6, or you would even increase it?
No, we have not increased it.
Because on the WA side too, there are quite a number.
Yes.
You know.
Then you. Sorry, I said go ahead.
Yes, sorry. You know, we did a road show with Ghana Shippers Authority. Yeah. I mean, when we get to the north, there are so many checkpoints. We spoke to the commanders.
Numbers are here. That is
yes, but what they were saying is, because of the security situations there, that is why they are there. But they are not fiscal barriers. Actually,
you have brought the matter, because if you saw the GPHA-led trade mission to Waga and Bobo and Niamey, it came out again that the numbers, the barriers were increasing. In fact, the last time I counted the police one, it was around 54. Today it's around 70. 75.
Only police.
Customs, I counted 6 at the time. Yeah. Now today you are bringing back more.
No, we are not bringing more, no.
Okay, likely to keep your 6.
Yes.
Now the thing, that is exactly what the transitors were complaining to the GPHA-led trade delegation. Yeah. And, you know, assurance have been given that we'll take a look at this kind of collaboration. But if we are coming back to the same, because the police people also gave some reasons which are quite legitimate, that they are protecting the roads, for which reason these barriers or the checks ought to be there. How do we reconcile the interest that you are proposing and the interest of the traders as well?
I think if the devices, the tracking devices are effective,
why are they not effective?
That's the problem.
It's coming from your office, isn't it?
No, it's coming from GCNet.
No, I mean, they work for you.
Yeah, they work for us.
You contracted them to work for you.
Please.
So why is it not working?
Most of them, they have used them for quite a long time, so I mean, it's not.
But you have contracted them to work for you. So if they are using old devices, according to you, you have to charge them to get newer ones.
In fact, you have to engage them, and they have promised, changing the old stock.
How long would that have to take us, and for how much do we have to lose before that?
Because that's, like we said, it's making an additional cost to GRA.
Yeah.
And then with the risk of manpower. I mean, within my unit in thermal preventive, I need more hands.
I see.
But at time, I mean, within a week, I have to deploy maybe 3 or 4 officers
to escort.
To go. Escort these IDT Wugos. It's affecting us. So maybe once we are discussing, maybe GCNet will take note.
But have you charged them? They are your employees.
No,
we
have engaged them.
People you have contracted.
We have engaged them.
They just don't have to listen on TV before they act.
No,
we have engaged them.
We have engaged them.
Okay.
Yes, we have engaged them. They have promised restocking their devices.
Okay. Yeah. I'm going to take a break. When we come back, registration of tracks, I think you dealt with it. The diversion. Okay. So there are a few issues that I will ask you or say, and Ziad as well. We'll take from the regional perspective, the regional body's perspective, a few other things. You can also join the convo. I've seen quite a number of messages in the line of the topic. Very interesting. Okay, so let me just announce the phone lines that you can join. You can call us 020-552-8353. The WhatsApp number, you can text us 055-901-9177. We'll return shortly after the break.
Takes you further. New Gold Super Synthetic 5W20 and 5W30 lubes have been expertly crafted with the latest in liquid engineering technology, highly advanced for modern engines, prolongs oil change intervals, save you fuel, clean, protect, and enhance engine performance. The way engines work has become complex, and GOIL has innovated to stay ahead. Expertly crafted lubricants that work excellently with all petrol and diesel engines of today. New GOIL Super Synthetic 5W20 and 5W30 lubes. Innovation that takes you further. GOIL. Good energy.
Dear valued client, the Ghana Trade Hub mobile app is now live to make it easy to track your consignment and know the estimated duty payable for both general goods and used vehicles. We are pleased to inform you that the Ghana Trade Hub mobile app is available for download on Google Play Store for Android users and the App Store for Apple users. This is the best opportunity for all importers and exporters to know the duty payable on every good under transaction. You can reach the team for inquiries and support by calling +233 242 435 663. Send an email to support@ghanastradinghub.com. To remain updated, kindly follow progress on the following platforms: www.facebook.com/Ghana Trade Hub, www.twitter.com/Ghana Trade Hub, and ghlinkedin.com/in/Ghana Trade Hub. Importers and exporters can download the official Ghana Single Window mobile app, which allows you to track your consignment conveniently and also allows you to obtain your estimated duty for general goods and used vehicles. Please spread the message to everyone importing or exporting. The Ghana Trading Hub mobile app is now live. Download and never be cheated. This is powered by the Smart Ports Project under the auspices of the Government of Ghana and the Ghana Revenue Authority. Smart Port, improving Ghana's ease of doing business.
Ya sase o my kesia ye kan ye hubom ye adwumaden ye be ye kese pa ye nto a ye tuatua ne daa no ene ne ye de sisi suku adan ne ayasabia ade bi yi akwan am ye nya asetena pa ene ne papi eto bi te say withholding tax, income tax, excise tax stamp ene afoforo pi wo ho a ebia na wo mu sembisa fa de wo sawutua nkasa ho enu nti ne ye wo ho ma wo ne se ye beboa wo eto aketua bia boa mesra wo boa ne pagya Ghana nsi ho ye nto
Utiliser les ports de Tema et de Takoradi, c'est avoir un traitement rapide et sécurisé de vos marchandises diverses en conteneurs, en sac ou en vrac, ainsi que tous vos véhicules en transit. Le Ghana a construit un parking bien pavé pour tous les véhicules en transit. Une nouvelle gare frigorifique pour le stockage de la marchandise congelée en transit. Avec un nouveau centre de traitement de données construit et la mise en œuvre efficace d'un guichet unique national qui permet aux données d'être accessibles par tous les intervenants, le traitement des dossiers dans les ports du Ghana est maintenant efficace et plus efficient. Utiliser les ports du Ghana, c'est profiter des systèmes de portes électroniques et d'exploitation des terminaux, ainsi que de la réservation des navires en ligne, entraînant ainsi un parc de camions fiable pour un acheminement de vos marchandises dans les brefs délais avec un suivi satellitaire jusqu'à nos frontières.
Les femmes, à vous les honneurs.
Les ports de Tema et de Takoradi célèbrent la femme. Que les bienfaits de cette célébration apportent plus de bénédictions.
Okay, so you can join the conversation. Phone line 020-552-8353. WhatsApp line is 055-901-9177. Before we went on break, Ziad, we're talking about the bringing back of some of the checks from customs side. From the advocacy point of view, because I know that your outfit has been quite vocal in seeing the fact that we reduce as much as possible some of these checkpoints.
First of all, let me say that what we have observed from our regional advocacy is that the same evidence-based approach to advocacy might not necessarily lead to the same outcome and decisions, and it depends on the leadership of that particular country. If you take, for example, Lomé and Togo. In 2011, when we went with a map that showed how many checkpoints were across Togo, the Minister of National Security at the time took a decision to abolish the checkpoints. So since there up to today, the checkpoints are not there, and their trade is flowing. Now, Ghana is one of the more difficult countries to tackle because of the structure of the security agencies. In fact, the numbers currently at the most recent fact-finding mission in September by Ghana Shippers Authority revealed 75 checkpoints for police, 37 physical barriers, and 38 mounted. Right, and that has been also cross-checked with an independent research fact-finding mission conducted by the Afrigos project under the University of Edinburgh, which was conducting a study on road transports in in Africa. And then they were studying the Tema-Paga corridor, and they came up with similar results. So these number of checkpoints are there as essentially to maintain the security environment. But then somehow they metamorphose into checkpoints to find driver's IDs and insurance, quota licenses, and so that is not within the purpose of the installation of that particular checkpoint.
Okay.
Now, it should be said that the security situation in Ghana has been more or less managed effectively to a certain point, but the numbers are just too many. And they create the opportunities for the human interaction and the human factor where exchanges of money, illicit fees, unnecessary waits, they are too difficult to separate.
Okay.
And 75 checkpoints is just too much to monitor.
Okay.
No matter how
but
you
that's
monitor.
for the police, though.
That is just for the police.
Yeah. This one says, my name is Percy and I'm at Ebri, or I'm in Ebri. When we give the information about cars that has not passed through customs and they arrest them, they don't give us the money they say they will pay for the information for arrest. As a custom officer, why don't they do that? But I would like for you to take, is there something like that?
Informants Award.
The Informants Award. You haven't been paying them.
Now there's Momo, so you can transfer
you should be able
without
to
sending the money physically.
sort them out if you really want them to work
true,
for you.
It's true, because even just last week, a week today, we had a similar call from somebody. So we went to Somania to pick almost about 4 vehicles. And
Okay.
I'll mention it to top management.
Okay.
Initially, at a point, it was there. But recently, I think they have...
Let me pick a call from Osu. Okay. I understand that line dropped. But let me say, Adam, another issue that came from the transit trade as I watched is the fact that the 10 days you have given to the truck drivers to leave our country is just too short. Don't you agree? Because sometimes their cars break down on the way. They are driving all the way from here, go through either Paga or Hamele, Kulungungu and all of that. And things can happen. Isn't 10 days too short? Well, and after which you are charging them penalty
what
for
that is, when you take off and you encounter any challenges, you just notify the nearest custom office. We make an input that the vehicle has spoiled and that you are repairing it. after which you are allowed to proceed.
I have a question on that, but let me pick that caller from Osu. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, sir.
My name is Mark Dessa from Osu.
Please, go ahead.
Yes, we have said that we have a West African highway, and goods are supposed to be able to move from our ports freely to other sub-Saharan African countries.
Mm-hmm.
But we have so many checkpoints on our way, and they keep stopping them all there, even though the containers are closed. It is slowing down business and making it very, very tough for the drivers. That is why sometimes we experience so many accidents on the way.
Okay.
Now, this is the complaint. I proffer a solution. The solution is, once we have data about the containers, same should be sent to the finish point. Then we should have our agents over there to check again and see that the details given them is correct and that the goods inside there are intact and everything, so that we stop this stopping of these vehicles on the way.
Okay.
It can even invite armed robbers to attack the driver. It's not safe.
Okay, good point.
And now this is my personal one. I am doing a project and I want an empty 40-footer container to buy. My brother, if I tell you the number of sources I've tried to reach to get the container and the prices people are quoting, I don't know which one really is the case.
I'm sure the Ship Owners and Agents Association of Ghana will be able to advise you. Kindly link up with them, and I'm sure you should be able to get a response to that. But thank you very much for thank you very much for that point made. So he makes a point about destination data being secured and that you don't have to stress too much about this many checkpoints. I will ask you something about destination checkpoint, because that also came up, data. That also came up in the transit trade. I remember that 2 years ago or so, 2017, when we were there, it came up. And again, it has come up this time around that customs at the other end, let's say Bobo or Waga, want to be able to assess the number of goods and information about the goods that leave, so that they can ensure that indeed they have received on the other side.
We have started a process.
Okay.
What we normally do is that headquarters links up with the exit point to
exit point in Ghana.
Yes,
that is Paga.
Then they go to the other side, the Burkina side.
I see. So the one in the other town there is what? Dakula.
Yes.
Is
Occasionally
able to
we go there.
Okay.
Yeah, we go there.
No, you go physically, or there's a system that's
in
able
fact,
to...
they are now working on the system.
So you don't connect?
Yeah, we don't connect. As of now, we don't connect.
Yes. IT-wise.
Yeah, we don't connect. It's in the process.
Okay. Yeah. This is a request they made as far back as 2 years ago, and we still haven't been able to do this.
Once some of us are no information.
Even such a system will stop cases of not just that, cases of misunderstandings about the volumes of trade that come into the country and disappear.
Yeah.
So you remember some story that happened a few weeks ago about clinker. Yeah. And people are saying clinker is coming to the country and disappearing. Oh, people are diversifying.
But in fact, that wasn't true.
That was, yes.
You know about that story. That
because it was transitory. But if you had the figures, if you had the sources.
In fact, they had the figures wrong. They had about 800,000 figure instead of about 3.5 million.
Yeah. So we have to be careful about the figures, and we have to know where to collate them and centralize the figures of the numbers.
And also share them.
Share
them.
Yes. I think we, as the national guarantors, we are actually doing that, sharing of information with Burkina Faso.
Okay.
Every day, you know, Burkina Faso Customs and the Chamber of Commerce are now using our data, the electronic log sheet that we print, which captures everything as a source document for Burkina Customs. Yes. Because now we are working hand in hand with Burkina Chamber of Commerce in Tema.
Okay.
Yes. So when we print out the log sheet, electronic log sheet, which captures everything of the cargo, a copy is scanned and forwarded to Burkina Faso.
Okay.
And every day, trucks that are released from the harbor are sent to Burkina Faso.
Interesting. So, customs is relying on that data from you, or is it customs on Burkina?
In fact, the data that we send, and the report from, because Burkina Faso also sends a report every day. We have put some custom officers. I think the AC Transit is on the list. So the trucks that they also receive, they also send it that we have received this number of trucks on this day. Every day, we get that information.
But how come SIC is able to share that kind of data but customs is not able to share that with the Duan in Waga or...
No, currently, I think
what's
AC Transit is on top of that job.
TT,
yes.
Okay.
Yes,
let me pick a call from Tema, and then we'll continue. Hello. Are we safe? Hello. Okay, somebody is so excited, but yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
I'm calling from Hamley.
Oh, nice. All the way from the border.
Yeah, in FASO.
Okay. Go ahead, my brother.
Yeah. I'm overhearing that like those complaints that normally do committed a crime, like not doing the right thing for the transaction, the exit or the clearance aspect. So if they know that somebody have committed that issue, they're not supposed to let the person pay penalty alone. When they have to pay the penalty, they're supposed to close down that particular company or agent.
Yeah, some of us agree here with you.
Correct?
Yes, some of us agree with you.
No. Me, I'm not a truck owner. But the way I'm just listening to the discussion, like it's like we are linear. If somebody have done mistake, we're supposed to do the right thing.
Yeah.
Either we should remove that particular point or the offender, so that even it will set as a deterrent to the other people. If they also do the same thing, that is what is going to happen to them. They will say once you pay the penalty, still continue to do the work. So I know that definitely once I have the money to pay penalty, so I'll do my own thing. When they get me, I'll pay penalty and still continue.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is what I wanted to also, it's just suggestion, always going to be.
Good. Thank you very much for your contribution. And all the way from Hamley. We appreciate you
very
calling.
Ziad,
what do you make of his point, though? Or say maybe.
Yes, I think that is what we have been saying here. That, you know, customs have, you have the Act 891, which spells out what you are supposed to do when there's a diversion. We should go strictly by what the law says. We might not have these issues of diversions.
It means that they are not enforcing the sort of punitive measures that are within the law.
I think so. I think so.
Do you know what the law says, though?
Yet, I mean, with respect to trucks, the law says that when you knowingly accept transit goods and the goods that not get to its final destination, customs are supposed to confiscate the truck.
And confiscate, so it becomes this.
Yes.
Custom gets to own it.
Yes.
And you have, do you have any of those trucks?
No.
You leave them back to the owners?
No, normally we confiscate and then it's auctioned.
You auction the trucks?
Yes.
Have you auctioned some of those trucks?
Oh, I'll find out. I'm not privy to
Okay, so if we enforce, like Jose is saying, I think...
No, we all buy into it. It's a laudable suggestion.
Bampo from Medina. We have a caller from Medina, but we'll just get to you shortly. Alasan from Adenta, before I come to you, Bampo from Medina says, why deploying men on the route when we can monitor on these GPS tag trucks from one control center? Aeroplanes are monitored that way, so I smell a chicken somewhere. For the no sanctions part, for those who try to divert, I cannot understand. That is coming from Bampo. This is a screenshot of what he has entered in the system. Okay, that's somebody giving issues about his car. Hello, from Adenta. Hello? Okay. Hello? Okay, so how do we deal with this truck registration thing? Because it looks like that's also one of the main reasons why we have these difficulties.
Yes. I mean, I've been advocating, and like I said, I've been having discussions with Mr. Yadom on this. I've written on it, You have different associations of truck owners at the ports. Different associations. Now, what I am saying is, let these associations exist. We don't have to put them together. Okay, bring your members, the trucks that you want to do business at the port. You bring them. We'll register them. We'll check with DVLA. Once we check with these trucks, now if your member takes transit goods from any of our ports and does not get into the final destination, Aside the customs holding the national guarantor, customs can also severally hold you.
Okay.
And then we take you off. Okay. I mean, we can be taking you off so we don't become credible again. Okay. And then we stick to the other union that is credible.
Sam is calling us from Tema. Hello, good evening, Sam. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, Sam, we can hear you.
Okay. I would like to contribute to your program.
Please go ahead.
Okay. The head of SIC.
Yes.
The guy at your studio.
Yes.
What he was saying, some of it doesn't make sense.
Which one?
The one that he made mention of the clearing agent being connived with the drivers to divert the goods.
Okay, what part don't you understand?
Yes. You know, initially, these things were happening. That's why they dissolved the customs personnel sitting on the track, escorting the goods to the exit point. Then the introduction of the, how do we call it, the tracking system came. And they built the clearing agents for it, telling us that they will use the electronic means to escort the goods to its destination. So when it happens like that, we don't have, apart from we clearing at the port, we cannot monitor the goods to its destination. It's the duty of the SIC to do that. So if the transporter or whoever it is divert the goods, the clearing agents will be sitting ideally. Then the next day you see they have reported him to the police that he has diverted the goods without knowing anything about it. But you have given assurance that you are tracking the goods electronically to its destination. If it happens like that, then you come back to fall on the clearing agents that they are connived with the transporters, and for that matter, the importers have divert the goods. So what he's saying is wrong. It's totally wrong.
Okay, I get your point. Let me just ask a quick one from you, and then I will ask him something. Is the clearing agent responsible to ensure that the importer who assigned that clearing agent receives his goods? I think we lost that line. But I don't know if you know that. Yeah. Is the importer, maybe, Mr. Yadom, before I'll let you, if you can respond on his behalf, because you license the agents. Is the agent responsible to ensure that the importer at the destination receives their goods?
Yes.
So he's supposed to monitor and be sure that they receive them.
He's also part of the monitoring agencies.
Now he makes a point that you have SIC who has guaranteed these goods. You have your tracking device. Yeah. You have a custom man attached to the cargo again. Yeah. And when the goods get diverted, you come back and blame the agent or say?
Yes, every agent has duties and responsibilities. You, the agent, you came to customs, you tell customs, you are the agent of the importer who is located outside the country. We don't know how you were able to receive the bill of lading to have entered in the system. You have a certain level of responsibility to make sure that your importer, who you came to tell SIC that he's in Burkina Faso, receive his goods. You don't have to, you don't, I mean, the agents, they have rule and responsibilities. If you declare goods in Tema, you have to make sure that those goods reaches Paga and they are indeed closed in the system. I think one of the laws is that every clearing agent should have an office at an exit point or representative.
Okay.
Who receive...
That's the law.
Yes.
That they have the back end as well.
Yes. Okay. That they will receive your trucks and make sure that these trucks are closed in the system.
Okay.
So you don't have to just declare transit goods and go to sleep.
Okay. So the agents then should understand that they have also assumed some responsibilities.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. I'm sure that he wasn't happy when you said that we should take him on. Maybe not him alone.
Maybe I have to clarify. Yeah. What I'm saying is, you know, in Tema, we have some agencies who even, who stand for people. Yes. They don't even know the importer, but they stand for them. That is what I'm talking about. Yes. If I'm very responsible, I opens a company, I will have to make sure that whoever that I work for, I know the person. Yes. Nobody will have to just bring a bill of lading for me to declare in my system, and then the next day I can't find the person. I have a responsibility to make sure that I do the good work and I know the person whom I'm working for. I mean, then anybody can just bring goods and then just give the bill of lading to anybody and then divert.
And how do we deal with that? Avoid trying to prevent people from stamping for people and...
Yeah, that is why I'm saying if you have an office and you are prepared to work, you have to make sure that you are doing the right thing. Now, I'm saying we can go back to 2017 and say, for all transit goods that you have declared, if you want to be part of the transit process, let's have 0 outstanding in your name.
Yeah.
If you have an outstanding in your name, you have to go and make sure if the goods indeed exit, you have to go to wherever it exited for them to close into the system, and then you will be free to work.
Would you advocate for, aside outstanding, having a 0 outstanding in your name, would you advocate for a limited number of people who have clean sheets to do this business?
I mean,
does it matter whether the person, do you want the number capped in a certain way? Does the number matter?
Not capping, but doing the right thing.
Okay.
Not capping. I mean, if we have 500 declarants and everybody has 0 in his name, I mean, fair enough, it's okay.
Okay.
But once you have an outstanding in your name, we should take you off for you to, clear your name before you add it up.
Okay.
In fact, the transit trade has created employment for the youth. When you come to the terminal, the young ladies and then the guys are there as a clearing agents. They are working. And then the guys who do the on-stuffing and what have you, they are there in their numbers.
We will pick international, some of the international news as well as the vessel schedules and the Bank of Ghana exchange rates. When we come back, we'll wrap up on the way forward.
Costa Smeralda, the first LNG-powered ship that will join the fleet of Italian cruise line Costa Cruises, has passed the technical sea trials carried out with liquefied natural gas, LNG. The Costa Smeralda is the second cruise ship in the world after Ada Nova to use this fuel both in port and at sea. During the sea trials, which began on November 16, the ship carried out a series of tests to verify the correct operation of systems, equipment and engines with LNG propulsion. The Netherlands-based shipping company Boomsma Shipping has decided to install scrubbers on its vessels as a way of complying with the IMO 2020 regulations that enter into force on January 1, 2020. The company said it signed a contract for a first scrubber with Value Maritime with an option for 2 more. Boomsma Shipping has a range of box-shaped, multi-purpose dry cargo vessels. Their first scrubber will be installed on one of the following 3 vessels, that is Frisian Ocean, Frisiana or Mafam. All these 3 multi-purpose vessels are in the 8,000 to 8,500 DWT range with a 3-megawatt engine. Danish consultancy company Nairas has signed a contract for the study and design of a new oil terminal and the expansion of Tanzania's second largest port, the port of Tanga. The agreement signed with Tanzania Ports Authority also includes a master plan for the strategic development of the ports in this East African country during the next 25 years. For this purpose, Nairas has formed a consortium consisting of ANOVA Consult from Tanzania, MTBS from the Netherlands, and ILF from Germany.
So this one says, hello, good evening. I do not agree on Mr. Yadom's argument on how they have been meeting with some people at GCNet to change some of their machines which is not working well or old. What I know is if you have employed somebody to work for you and the person is not working well to your satisfaction, you just have to be on that person so that he or she will work to make you happy or satisfy you, since you have employed the person and you are paying as well. Or is there some sort of kululu between some of the customs officers and some people at GCNet? Thank you. My name is Ejewa. Mr. Adam,
Boss,
do you agree with her?
No.
You don't agree with her?
Honestly,
that you have employed somebody and you are not...
No, we have engaged GCNet and the employer.
No, people are saying that you are losing money. That's what you are losing money. So hasn't it gotten to the point where you'll be a lot more pushy?
It's true.
It's true?
It's true.
Okay.
But there's no connivance between customs officers and the GCNet, no.
Okay. So what is it?
Because what happens is that you come for the printout from my session.
No, so it's just that we are being slow at engaging.
Acting, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. As we are ending, Ziad, it looks as if, though, that we value the transit trade. Now, if you watched the stories before we started the program, the trade mission, a lot of us continue to go and woo the transit traders and come in. But does it look to you that we are doing enough?
I think you have to
keep them.
Yes. I think you have to say that there has been some significant progress that has been made over the past few years. Some infrastructure have been significant. There's no one who came to visit the port of Tema who doesn't express admiration and respect for that structure. We have actually built something, and we have been modernizing our major infrastructure in order to allow us to accommodate a role as a conduit into West Africa. So the strategic vision of becoming the gateway is there. And we have been working in certain areas, but the challenges remain. Okay. There has been some significant challenges for the landlocked shippers communities. And we have a role to play in order to, first of all, to convince them that we have the best solution for their, but at the moment, when
briefly,
I look,
what do you think we should do immediately?
I think we have to look at how to reduce the human factors to the minimum. I think that is the main point of why the highest level of decision has been taken to go digital and to go paperless. Paperless is about reducing not only the paperwork, but the human interaction. Because humans can connive, humans can negotiate, but machines are just dumb. And so the more we go paperless, the less paperwork involved, the less cost and the less the time it takes to reduce and more become competitive.
Okay, Tony. What's the way forward? I also know that I think you've been signing some bonds.
No, protocols.
Some protocols.
MOUs.
Okay.
MOUs.
What
you know, the ECOWAS Protocol of 82 had a supplementary protocol of 1990, which enjoins member countries to have a community guarantee mechanism, like what is happening in COMESA, that is Common Union of South and Eastern Africa. We had signed a couple of MOUs in 2009, but we could not implement them because, so we had to resort to bilateral agreements. So as at now, we have signed MOUs with Burkina Faso and Cote d'Ivoire. And I know Cote d'Ivoire and Burkina Faso, they also signed an MOU. In fact, they actually started. What we are doing about that is a single bond is issued in Tema. And that bond is supposed to carry the cargo all the way from Tema to its final destination.
Okay.
But now what ECOWAS is telling the national guarantors to do is actually the community guarantee mechanism among all the member countries. And what that seeks to do is to reduce costs to the importer.
Okay.
That if a cargo is going to Mali, then we have to issue one bond from Tema. And that bond should be able to carry the cargo all the way to Mali through Burkina Faso. But that would have to, before you can go ahead with that, there need to be interconnectivity of customs systems.
Yeah.
And that is
that's where the problem
is. Because
customs is still not connecting.
Are not connected. So that is where the problem. But ECOWAS is pushing that there should be the community guarantee mechanism.
Okay.
We should implement that.
Okay. Mr. Yadom, everything sounds like it's on your table. If we, the adverts we played, if Ghana be here is on you.
But Cote d'Ivoire, like I said, is connected, and so we are pushing for the other countries to also. But before I want to thank the National Security and the BNI in terms of they are supporting me in all spheres of the work that we are doing.
How?
As far as the transit, because every morning we give them the number of trucks that are exited, so they communicate to the exit points, and then
to also monitor on the road.
Monitor on the road, and then when there's any detection or intelligence that they pick, they quickly give it to us.
But and we are still encountering the diversion.
As of now, diversion is minimal. I can assure you.
Okay.
Diversion is the lowest minimal.
And we are not losing any revenue, like we said.
At all.
No. I see.
If there's any, that small infraction is based on where maybe because of the presentation of double declarations, they present one, so it will be hanging in the system. When we detect it, we quickly alert the agency that they have to rectify it. But for now, the issue of diversion is a thing of the past.
And on the e-tracks that people complain that as soon as you stay for 1 week, the thing expires and it doesn't work.
For that one too, we have had discussion with our GCNet and that they are working on it. There has been a lot of series of engagements with the National Security, GPHA, the Shippers Authority.
How soon can we get that result? Because it sounds like it's been around for about years.
This time around, I know the way I've been pushing them. Okay. Especially the Taman manager, I know they are going to push the big men.
I'm going to end on an unfortunate incident that happened today from Ghana Revenue Authority. I think we have some pictures and videos that we will be seeing on the screens. One of your buildings at
VAT House.
That's the VAT House, the one at Circle, was raised down badly.
The commissioner has called him that we should release with GPHA to release the tenders. But they say when they called the control room in Accra, they said they were capable of handling it. So,
there were about 3, it was even more, 5 tenders there. Anyway, so very unfortunate, and I don't know how you handle this, but it was quite difficult to douse.
Difficult.
Yeah.
I think it started at the top floor.
Top, where the smoke is coming from.
And actually, I could see that most of the books and papers and documents in the other room at the far end, almost everything was raised down. It was just burning like that, and heavily as well. Anyway, unfortunate. So, thank you very much, gentlemen, for coming. Anthony Osei in Tiamua is the head ISRT. I always ask, what's it?
Yes, Interstate Road Transit.
Interstate Road Transit Unit of SIC Insurance Company Limited. Kunedu Yadom Douglas, or Douglas Kunedu Yadom, is the Chief Revenue Officer in charge of transit terminals, and also Ziad Hamwi, National President, Borderless Alliance, Ghana. Thank you. Sorry?
Thank you very much.
Thank you, dear. And thank you for watching. See you soon.